I want that which belongs to me no less than to a man. It is power. A power that is almost within my grasp.
Hello and welcome to the first Kill James Bond of 2023. I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly. I am joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hello!
How you doing?
And we are back on some Man from U.N.C.L.E. shit.
Yes!
Let's go.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be doing this. We are watching the, I think, fourth Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie.
That's right.
One of our spies is missing. And let me just jump right into this and say that this movie begins with something, a ghost I thought I had exorcised, right? It begins with something I thought I was over. I had been in therapy this past few months to try and, like, you know, move past the, you know, various traumatic events that have happened in my life. And yet this movie presents me with one of them. It triggers me. It owns me because this movie begins with...
Fuck me dead.
God damn it. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Any listener that has the capacity to kill someone with their mind, get in touch with me. I need this information. I need this. It fucking opens Soho, London. And for all our American listeners who have been like, oh, they keep talking shit about how New York looked in the 60s. Don't worry, because fuck me, does London look like hot trash.
It's like fucking Mordor.
It's horrific.
Yes.
Soho.
But the first thing that we see is David McCallum enters the shot holding a diamond-studded collar, and I'm like, oh, David, you shouldn't have. My notes say all I've ever wanted.
Cat girls triggered.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not like me perceiving you? Do you not like me turning the big spotlight on you?
No, I just want a fancier collar than the one I have.
I can recommend you some places. Anyway,
no, I'm not going to pay for it. That's the whole point. Anyway,
I can recommend your girlfriend some places. So we start in Soho, where David McCallum, Ilya Kuryakin, is chasing cats.
He is,
and in order to do so, he has obtained the luxury catgirl collar for very special girls, which is like diamond studded and about 2 inches wide. And he approaches...
Great name. Great name.
Cat selling man?
Yes, a man who sells cat.
Catman.
Sell me the most desirable cat to steal.
He says, I'm here for
I have
your
your finest cats.
Would require your fattest, most decadent looking cat. And then he gets a cat which is quite normal looking, which is sort of a failure of cat casting.
Sort of fucked up to me.
It's not the biggest failure of cat casting in this film, but he gets a cat. He puts the diamond-studded collar on it to make it, you know, more attractive to cat nappers, I suppose. He sets it free on the streets of London, and the collar has a tracking device in, which is quite cute. And he's like following this cat around London.
And a Cockney guy,
some fucking geezer,
picks up the cat. And then Ilya sort of turns the flashlight on him and he's like, "Oi, what are you doing?"
You're nicked, son.
The perfect I ain't done nothing thing. Because he says, and I've edited these together, but he says about 3 different times,
I wasn't doing nothing. No crime there, is there? Well, there's nothing wrong there, is there?
It's not a crime to steal a cat, is it, Governor?
It's not a crime to consistently perform the same action with all of your lines, is it? It's not a crime to never vary your performance.
It is actually these days.
These are days.
Literally a one-note character.
The most defensive one-note Cockney in the world explains that he is fulfilling what I can only describe as an insane cat bounty system that exists on the streets of Soho.
Oh, we're like 5 minutes into this fucking episode. And I'm already
like I love Uncle. Quest.
I love Uncle so much.
Coming up in the fucking outline of this side quest that's like, you know, this guy will pay you handsomely for any cats you deliver to him at this point on your minimap.
It's like a really weird, like, Assassin's Creed fucking...
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, what's the hunting called? I don't care.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate
That's
was the one in London.
That's the
but
Spice. Yeah.
It was the last good Assassin's Creed. Fight me about this. Origins was good, but not an Assassin's Creed game. Anyway,
That's fine.
So
I won't fight you
And
about
then
that.
an extremely transgender woman steps out of the shadows.
yes. And she's wearing a green trilby, which you have to be extreme levels of transgender.
Yeah,
to pull
Spy
off.
in a green hat. That would have been a good title, maybe, for this movie. And she steps out and she fucking ices this geezer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she uses the veterinary pistol on him. She fucking shoots him. She shoots him. She wings Ilya, who is like grazed and is like forced to like hide behind a thing.
Oh, just before this though, Ilya learns from this one-note Cockney man that this guy called Corvey is paying him to steal cats, and pays him apparently like really, really well for this in a weird way.
Mm-hmm. And then as Ilya is winged, we go to
NYC U.N.C.L.E. HQ.
That's right.
Yes.
You know what? They've really come into their own with these intros. They figured out how to make one, which is quite nice.
Yeah. I like it.
What I really like about this is Solo rocks up to DeFloria's flower pressing shop. ? He goes in, and then we cut to Mr. Waverly, who is being told that he's coming in, and he watches the intro sequence on his TV.
He does
he's like
that,
creepily watching Solo come in.
Yeah, this
and
intro
what's
sequence
really
is
funny
in media res. Like, this is...
Yes, genuinely.
Yeah,
it genuinely looks like the titles are like non-diegetic or diegetic, whichever one I mean.
That's right.
For a minute, because it looks like Mr. Waverly is watching the title screen. One of our spies is missing with Robert Vaughn and David McCallum.
It's like my monitor's breaking the fourth wall again after somebody come in and fix it. But Robert
just
Vaughn,
like slap the side of my monitor.
Robert Vaughn comes in and M gives him a briefing.
It's me watching the Uber Eats driver, just like watching him like come up to the door.
It's like giving his name in like a big red font, and you're like, wait a minute.
Let's call the Kelly
so he comes up. That's right. And Solo comes in, and Waverly's like, "Check this shit out, big boy! It's the return of the loud projector."
Woo!
That's actually his line verbatim.
He says that.
Our favorite uncle agent, the agent loud projector.
The technology not yet caught up with Thrush. You had a quiet projector a movie ago.
M gives him this briefing and he's like, yo, check this out. Here's a picture of an old dude. And Robert Vaughn's like, yeah, that's Dr. Lancer. He's, the famous scientist who's like working on anti-aging technology. He's like Aubrey de Grey in real life. He's like trying to reverse age shit. He's doing oil of Olay shit to
Here's
himself.
something I hugely appreciate. M does his like, oh, James, what's the point of this movie bit? But Solo is clearly struggling to recall the details because he's like squinting a little bit. He's like, "Oh god, this guy, he's a scientist."
He's like got a hangover. Fuck.
And I really like that.
This guy Lancer is the most buying retinol and focused on the grind anyone has ever been. He is determined to reverse aging. And then he shows him this first photo of an old guy, and Solo goes, "That's the old cunt who's focused to determine aging." He shows him another photo of the same guy but younger, and Solo goes, "No idea who that is."
Yeah.
Not like idea one has not entered my head at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe it's his son. I don't know. He makes a really weird face. At
And
this point.
M's like, but that's him. That's Dr. Lancer. And Solo's like, well, this picture must have been taken 30 years ago. And he's like, no, it was taken last week. So this guy appears to have discovered the L'Oreal secret to reverse aging.
Yes.
The 7 signs of aging. He's finally figured out what they all are.
He's applying like microbeads to places microbeads have never been applied before.
Yeah.
The ocean.
But of course, he's gone missing, of course. And then we get this fun bit where Solo's like, okay, a thrush behind it? And Em just goes, oh.
They'll probably be in the mix somewhere. It's this type of movie.
Yeah, probably. So the only lead we have is, of course, well, he does have a daughter who was this fucking 10 out of 10 smoke show baddie model in Paris. Go and see her and don't have sex with her, Robert Vaughn. Love it.
And then he goes, okay, can I check in on my boy, David McCallum? To which M responds with the most insane pronunciation of Soho I've ever heard.
And now he's back chasing cats in Soho.
I wrote that down. It's like he's back chasing cats in Soho. He's just like getting fucking abducted midway through. Like gets Doppler shifted upwards.
It is the fucking Matt Berry outside. It's like, he's out chasing cats in Soho.
Who really are the most devious bastard
in New York
City.
It's the same sort of cadence as they must excuse this rather odd mixture of styles, but I refuse to go entirely. So
and you know what? Now's a fair point to put it in right at the start. This entire movie features a whole lot of people who just like talk fucking weird. In the 60s, you could talk however the fuck you wanted and like no one would pull you up on it. I have like 8 drops that are just like guys talking weird.
So Solo goes to Paris. He goes to this fashion house, La Sala. We get an interesting bit of hauntologies. The sign says London, Paris, New York, Beirut, right? And that's not like a joke. These were equally glamorous places in 1966.
I thought it was a joke.
Genuinely. Beirut was the Paris of the Orient for a long time, and like until fucking everybody else got done fucking it up, it was beautiful. It remains beautiful in some ways, despite having a massive explosion go off in it. It's not a joke. It's genuinely
really.
Beirut is a fashionable place to have your fashion house. And so he goes to try and find the smoke show daughter.
Here we get
and instead,
a masterclass in how to deal with a Bond-esque man entering your environment.
Yes.
Control, remove.
We see the same woman from like wearing the green hat as from earlier, Madame La Sala.
She's in fact not the same woman from earlier.
Fuck!
How the fuck is that not the same woman?
Madame de Sala and Olga are not the same woman, and they're about to appear in the same scene together. They do look very similar.
There's about 5 fucking redheads in this movie, and they all
Sorry,
look.
I'm pulling up the IMDb.
This is Madame de Sala. The lady from earlier is Olga, who we will meet shortly.
Okay.
But Madame de Sala arrives and is like, "Get the fuck out, you James Bond ass motherfucker! I've seen films. Get the fuck out! Don't fuck anyone. Just go."
Yes, yeah. You are not putting your dick in anything in this establishment. But Solo sort of like persists. He like runs past her. He literally like just jogs to a door frame where we see this 10 out of 10 smoke show baddie daughter who is standing on a pedestal, but it took me a second to clock that. I thought she was like 7 feet tall, and I was like,
I thought that was just in my mind. But she doesn't want to talk.
On a pedestal, like gently rotating, there are lights, and you're like, interesting.
Yeah, a big sort of like alarm
fine.
light that says lanky brunette with an interesting jaw just goes off in the command center inside my head.
I'm like, I think this one's Alice, actually. This has been sent to the wrong address. Mine appears shortly. But she doesn't want to talk to her before, and she's like, fuck off. My eyeliner is too good to speak to you. And he's like, okay, let me give you my business card. And then after he leaves, then Olga, the clocky transgender lady from earlier on, reappears. And we get lesbianism.wav.
Ooh. We get incredible lines, and I've like got a bunch of them here. But this daughter goes, well, okay, why can't I speak to Napoleon Solo? And she goes,
Because he is the enemy.
In what way?
Because we are women.
Fucking get his ass.
It's good, actually.
Radical feminist separatism.
Madame de Sala is truly on some Abigail Thorne shit.
No, she's popping off non-stop. Like, she's so good.
She gives the line earlier on where she's like, I want power. Men shouldn't have all the power. I'm a girl boss. I'm going to beat Jodie Comer to the Broadway World Awards.
Yes, yeah.
Sure.
And so she tells Olga, by the way, as she is doing this, she is fucking tying a string of pearls around this young woman's neck. I wrote down in the group chat at this point, this movie dyke as fuck. And it only gets worse.
I believe I also wrote this. Yeah.
And she says, in a world controlled by men, I have found a way to control the controllers. So she has an evil plan. And she
details Olga to go and kill Napoleon Solo. And Olga then delegates that by finding a second 10 out of 10 smoke show
This
band.
one's for Abby. This one's for Abby.
Hello.
This is Dodo. This one's for Abby.
This like...
This lass is insanely fucking hot, actually.
Yeah.
Insanely blonde.
Insanely blonde, yeah.
And American.
This time, I wrote down and I underlined a couple of times the words evil women. Also, by the way, I think Madame de Sala, right? She's outlining this plan, like control the controllers, fucking, destroy the world of men, right? I think we have something for this. We have something for when the villain makes cogent points that the movie totally fails to address.
Yes.
I think this is Oldman medal material.
About time we
This is
awarded
up there
another
with
Oldman
Air
medal.
Force One. I think it is. It's time. So she goes to Olga. Olga goes to Dodo, and Olga says, "Right, go to the daughter whose name I've already
Lorelei.
forgotten. Lorelei. Go to Lorelei's house.
The three of us gave different pronunciations there. Perfect. Pick your own.
So
and like keep her off the phone, right? Make sure she doesn't call Solo.
This broad
goes,
is
okay,
gonna
fine.
fall for Solo's fucking wiles. Do not allow it to happen.
Yeah. How do I do that? And at this point, a feminine moment that I want so deeply in my life. An older woman hands her a stiletto and is like, "Use your imagination."
I wish she hadn't given her the knife and it just said use your imagination, because like just from the tone of this scene, or maybe just because it was on my mind having seen Dodo, I genuinely thought the distraction tactic was going to be fuck her.
We've all like two-thirds of this podcast has come out from different types of dome leave recently.
We've been
We're in a
waylaid.
weird place. We're in a weird place mentally, and this is a horny movie in a lesbian way. So this is going to be one of those episodes.
My dome leave resulted in me being blue-balled, metaphorically, because the last night of it had to be cancelled. So yeah, we were in a weird place watching this movie.
Yes. So at this point, Solo, he's still in Paris. He's struck out, and so he calls home, and he calls the same woman, the same radio operator that in the previous movie we identified as Mr. Waverly's niece, Maud. Except she's Wanda in this movie because she, changes her name a lot because she's transgender. And essentially he flirts with her, and Waverly more or less walks in on his niece having phone sex with his subordinates.
Yeah, he does this like once or twice a day, though, to be fair. So I think he's probably
she's always
quite
been-
inured at this point.
I have a pet theory that Wanda tries it on with all the agents. Channel
She's
D is always
operating.
open.
I mean, if she's
Channel D is
operating
so open.
Channel D, like, there's got to be so many agents that are calling in, and there's no way that she's
It's
only
a great way
being
to
horny.
incentivize them to keep publishing their updates to headquarters.
Yeah, and Channel D is the most open it's ever
And what
been.
Waverly
But-
wants to announce to Solo is, yeah, Ilya's spending way too much fucking money on cats. If you see this guy, can you ask him to stop, please? Which is
we hear that
really good.
the uncle expenses department are upset with how much money Ilya's spending on cats, and I'm like, wow, they're good oversight.
I didn't realize they had a
$3
fucking
million
expenses department, and quite frankly,
double diamond cat girl collar, and they've got this report, and they're like, no, you're not doing that.
yeah, we cut to a fella called Norman, Sir Norman Swickert. And this man,
crucially, Sir Norman Swiggert has the most ripped chauffeur I've ever seen in my
it's
life.
fucking Cal Boulder. He's back.
He is, dare I say, a Mongopher. Like the guys who launched those balloons.
It's
And
Mr.
he's, like,
Mr. Ingo.
Yeah, Cal
Yes.
Boulder once
Except now
again,
he's
baby.
gotten another job as this guy's chauffeur. And Sir Norman is sort of like a Winston Churchill XP. He like references Churchill.
You on the
He's
drop?
like a
I've
sort
got
of-
his voice on account of it's one of
Yeah,
the
go
ones
for
of
it.
a guy talking weird that I love to hear. It's
Yes.
He says this.
I have no purpose to fight. I remember when they turned out Winston Churchill. I was hardly an old man then. I thought, how dare they do this? How dare they?
And he talks like that. It's been so
Winston-
long since we've had like an
Winston
honest to God
Churchill.
like scenery chewing cunt just like roll up into a scene. I love this fucking guy so much.
Yeah. And so he's old. He's dying. He wants to die, in fact, because he's old. And they turfed him out of power, and now he's mad because there's an NHS and a welfare state. And if he had had 5 more years, he could have been doing more Tory shit or whatever. Sort of average Conservative Party members at this point.
And we see that Madame de Sala is like Lady Macbething him. She's like, don't worry, we'll give you 25 more years.
And Madame de Sala is like, man, I had a crush on you when I was a child, and I couldn't wait to grow up until I was old enough for us to like get together when I was 16. And I'm like,
it's not ideal, is it?
Getting increasingly uncomfortable.
Average Conservative Party member.
Safeguarding issue. Whole different light going off on the other side of the command center.
Yeah. Vladimir Nabokov has logged on. Then we cut to Dodo and Laura Lee, who are sadly not having sex.
They're playing Magic the Gathering. This is another sort of transgender activity. Yeah, exactly.
Traditionally.
Yeah.
And having
Laura Lee's like, I play vampire decks all the time. Like, I'm getting some news. I might put together like a Pokemon deck, but it's really difficult because you can only get 60 cards, and it's really difficult. And Dodo's like, and
having like
put the ears on.
Who amongst us has not lost twice at Magic the Gathering in order to spend more time at a hot girl's apartment? But having done so, Dodo, like, I mean, Lorelei's trying to get Dodo out of the apartment, and and Dodo's like, fine, will you make me a drink first?
Yeah, power move.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking whiskey soda as well. Like, she's not fucking around.
Mm-hmm. She makes the drink. She's like killing for time. But it's increasingly clear that Lorelei wants to call Napoleon solo. And so
Olga arrives
arrives
and like opens the door, and I genuinely thought this was going to be like catching them in bed together, just in the way that it's shot. But sadly, she finds Dodo holding Lorelei at knife point.
Yeah, kind of almost. Yeah.
The prelude.
And then... Well, for me, she's
getting bitten by a dog. Now,
fucking hell.
Oh, well done. Well
done. It was one time.
Oh, you get bitten by one dog, suddenly on the dog bite.
You get bitten by your hookups dog one time, and you mention this in passing, and you never hear the end of it.
You build 1,000 bridges and suck one dick, and you're a dick sucker, not a bridge builder. Sucks.
Exactly.
It's a shame. Yeah.
And
solo calls.
Indeed.
With solo calls, and Dodo answers and is like, oh, yeah, just come over anyway. Do not bring weapons. Hangs up the phone, goes back into the room where some even more profoundly lesbian shit is happening, in that Olga is like holding Lorelei still at knife point with like a leather gloved hand over her mouth, and then proceeds to sort of like gaslight her that everything's fine while stroking her hair. This is
Lorelei is making the big eyes sub emoji face. She's putting two fingers together.
Oh, she is. It's 100%.
You know the problem with older women, right? Is that all the older women I've ever dated have been like scrupulously nice to me, and I need the sort of gaslight murder older woman in my life.
You need a Rosa Klebb.
That's yeah.
All the older women have been just like nothing but lovely to me. It's nice, but like sometimes
it's a real shame. Here's the thing, right? You know that tweet that's like, if you ever feel as a woman that you're too old to be attractive, you should know that every lesbian in the world would like crawl over broken glass to like kiss your hand. That's true. However, it's missing the point that you should then kill them.
Yeah, you have
like,
to
that's
be
the
rude.
Thing that we're into.
Not rude,
yeah,
mean.
You have to, mean.
Yeah, yes, rude. Yeah. Rude is a little bit too like vindictive. You can't be doing
need
that.
Someone who looks like Dodo, acts like Olga.
Regardless. Also, Solo rolls up.
Solo comes
Welcome
over.
to the Horny podcast. It's like late night.
Oh, fuck me, yeah.
We're recording like pretty late in the evening.
I'm half ciders down at this point. Like, Solo rolls up.
I'm stone cold sober. I'm just like this.
Let's just talk about Dodo's fucking dress for a second here, because this is the most like late 60s thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. It is difficult to look at.
She looks like she's been kicked through Picasso.
Fucking she lets him
oil
in.
Have bloody got to her.
She's like, do you want a drink? He's like, no. Do you want a coffee? And he's like, yeah, fine, whatever. She makes him the coffee, poisons the cream. She puts poison in the cream. And then as he takes the coffee, he pours a little saucer of cream for the cat. And what Solo he damn near roofies a cat, is what he does
for
at
real.
this point.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's a good thing the cat. I thought they were going to kill the cat.
Yeah, but the cat like hisses at the saucer, and Solo's like, wait a second, this bitch is trying to poison me. he goes to like remonstrate with her, and Dodo is on some fucking combatives.
She's seen James
Step
Bond.
1, day 1, goes for the fucking throat. She literally, she's like biting his hand. She bites his fucking ear.
Pulls a knife on him.
Yeah. So we have an award around these places called the Kaufman Star.
We do.
And a man wanders into this fucking scene, just through the open door.
Point, I wrote down, oh, hey, it's my gay cowboy roommate.
Texan deployed. A guy walks in. I have the drop. He says,
Roy Rogers.
Yeah. He walks in. He sees the fight going on, and he's like, well, obviously Napoleon solo is a danger. So he's just like, goes in,
correctly assumed,
punches Napoleon out. Meanwhile, like Yankee Doodle Dandy or some shit is playing in the background, and then he says to Dodo,
"My name is Bentley, ma'am, from Fort Worth. That's in Texas. I couldn't help but hear the commotion. Was this fella bothering you?"
This guy's wearing a cowboy hat and a bowler necktie. This guy is a Quincy Morris ass motherfucker.
Strolls into the scene. Just walks in. And he's like, Dodo doesn't even thank him, just leaves. Dodo's like, fair enough, bye.
Yeah. And so what he does in that moment is he decides to do community-based, non-carceral, rehabilitative, like, justice on Solo, who has, like, gotten the shit kicked out of him by this woman and then been punched in the back of the head.
Solo is, like, woozy. He's just like, hold on, give me a second here. The guy's like, I can see you're an American.
Yeah, this guy's been looking at those adverts on the tube about, like, if your mate sexually harass a woman, you should say something. And he's like, he starts calling Robert Vaughn in.
He's like, we should call the gendarmes.
Don't you think this reflects poorly on us as tourists?
That's right.
And it's
we
like,
as a community need to be working on it. Like,
we should take Bentley as a fucking idol for how we should be approaching our boys when they're fucking up.
You know what? Goodnight Cross. Just back-to-back characters, Kaufman Star, Goodnight Cross.
Fuck because
yeah. True.
If we ever want to make, like, police reform, police abolition a thing, we're going to need about 1 million more of this guy. Just, like, fucking wandering into the scene of what he presumes is, like, some kind of sexual assault, punches a guy in the back of the head, and then pulls him up by the collar and explains to him what he is doing is shameful.
I want to make an edit of those adverts on the tube now, but instead of having, like, all the concerned people looking out of the view, I just wanted to have the image of this guy being like, I'll ask her if she's okay. I'll punch Robert Vaughn in the face.
If you see something, punch someone in the back of the head.
Yeah, it was weird when that shit came on the fucking
punch
like
it,
tube.
Sorted.
Sorted. Just like one of those photos of like the guy going into the like unauthorized area, but photoshopped into it is this Texan motherfucker bearing down.
It's the same like silhouette artwork, but he just has like a fucking cowboy hat in his silhouette. See it, say it, sorted.
My name is Bentley, ma'am.
What a guy.
So we have to now yank back to the 60s, right? And go to what is, frankly, almost a Bond level of dead woman cavaliers.
Yeah.
Because Solo, still sort of brain injured, stumbles into the bathroom to find that Lorelei has been drowned in the bathtub by fucking Rosa Klebb, which me and whomst I am asking this.
You can't get drowned in the bathtub. We need you for podcast.
God damn, you can't have shit.
Can't have shit in this house. Fuck.
The best I can do is bitten by a dog.
And Bentley walks in to see, obviously, that Lorelei's been bitten by a dog and goes,
The dog and I are very close friends now. She's nice. She's just nervous.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. I can tell because it happened to you. So.
I've been getting bitten too lately. It's nothing special.
I literally wrote down when Dodo like bites him that you're like, some people just have the manners when a beautiful woman bites them to like say thank you, but instead he just gets punched in the back of the head like an idiot.
Yeah, when a beautiful woman bites you, listens, you say thank you, mummy. So
that's
Solo
right.
finds a
this
letter
one is fucking
from
horny.
We're in
Sorry.
a mood. You know, the trans moon, the trans femme moon is like out.
Look, this episode is going to drop in the fucking mystery week between Christmas and New Year where there are no rules. So whatever, be as horny as you want. I'm going to be eating cheese as this drops. 100%.
The last night of Dome Leave was cancelled. I was left unfulfilled.
Yeah, you didn't get bitten enough.
I know. I literally did not. So Solo finds a letter from Laurelie's father saying, "Yo, I'm the scientist, the aging scientist. Remember this? Next location is London. Come find me."
Way, next location. He sends Bentley to go and get the cops and then just leaves. Which is the one time at which Bentley fails at his duty is you should stay with that guy and send a third person to go and get the cops, because otherwise what they'll do is what Solo does. He just leaves.
See, and that, to be fair, does restrict Bentley to one scene, which does give him the Kaufman.
The good night, rather.
Well, the Kaufman, good night is whatever, man. Fuck it.
Back in London, Solo manhandles a woman.
Yeah, so this is where I wrote the note. People just be talking however the fuck they wanted in the 60s, because he goes up to a gentleman's club and this is the fucking line he hears. A nurse is trying to get in and she goes,
"We do not allow female persons on the premises."
I am not a female person. I am a registered nurse.
You could just talk however the fuck you wanted in the 60s. You could do whatever you wanted to.
Question mark Irish? Question mark posh Scottish?
I
thought she was trying to be Scottish. My notes say this is from the era where it was widely believed that Scottish people were a kind of orc.
Yes.
Still is. But also these kind of gentleman clubs that don't allow women onto the premises, as far as I know, still exist.
Oh, yeah.
And became, we're only seriously confronted 5 years ago, and even then. So yeah, she's trying to get into whites or whatever to give this old cunt his medicine. And the doorman goes "Ew, women.
You're an adult human female.
Female. I am not a female person.
You don't have sex-based rights yet. This is a fucking
I have a
XY
drop from
only
later on
space.
in the movie.
Meanwhile, there are like thousands of trans women walking through the door.
That's right. The thing is, right? Trans women,
clubs.
we love to hang out in the
won't let me
drawing
in
room
anymore.
at Boodles.
Bastards.
We love to do it. And whenever anyone questions us, we're guess what? Check my fucking chromosomes. I'm allowed to be in Boodles.
I tell you what. I don't think I've ever told you guys this story, but I don't think I've told it on the podcast. On the day that I realized that I was transgender, I was like, okay, I'm going to start transitioning the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to do all the things that I can only do whilst people believe that I'm a man. So I
and you went on Hajj, which was very weird.
Yeah. I put on a suit and tie. I went out.
This is like an unaccompanied man.
I did sort of various things with some lovely people, and I also I went out to one of these clubs. I pulled some strings and I got into one of these clubs where they don't allow women in, and I had a fucking fabulous steak dinner, and it was really, really nice. And I was sitting there the whole time being like, well, no one could say I didn't drive my masculinity till the wheels fell off. It was a really nice way to say goodbye and good luck. Thank you very much for having me. I'm out. So yeah.
That's lovely. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it was nice actually. I was like, you know what? There's some things that are good, and I'm going to weigh them. I went to a swimming pool too. It's good.
Nice. So Solo, because he's a gentleman, and because this kind of gentleman's club shit is presented as being old-fashioned and ridiculous, and this nurse gets the opportunity to say I wouldn't be introduced to a man who only meets his mother on the outside or whatever. And that's her sort of girl boss moment. He offers to take this medication in because he's looking for scientists anyway. And so he goes in, and
inside Sir Norman is meeting Lancer, the age scientist, and he is in fact younger, and Sir Norman has to ask him a bunch of questions to verify his ID. He's like, what's your mother's maiden name? What is the Bridge of Lions? And he's like, oh, it's our secret chess playing bullshit society.
Yes.
But then Olga sneaks in, sees Solo, and gets clocked.
And the doorman gets a fucking line.
Good heavens, a woman!
And then she responds to that the only way you can, pulling a gun and shooting the nearest dude. So she kills Lancer.
Takes him out.
Solo gives chase. We get a car chase through the streets of London, which looks like absolute shit. London looks terrible. She's driving a very early model of Morgan, I believe. and he chases her into the back entrance of a theatre, which is plausible enough for central London.
Yeah, especially around Soho. There's a few around there.
Yeah. I've heard of this. And so fucking
they have a very
Dodo
jaunty shootout.
Olga,
They do.
Yeah, Dodo literally reenacts the Phil Collins tweet and turns a spotlight
I also wrote this
on
down.
Solo and tracks him.
I literally wrote "Spotlight tracks me as I head for exit."
So did I. It's like a genuinely formative thing. If you're not familiar with the tweet, it is Phil Collins on stage, and here tonight is the person who inspired my next song, "Fat Shithead Clogged My Toilets." Spotlight tracks me as I head for exit.
It's a perfect tweet.
So,
it's so good.
They fight, and
Solo kicks Dodo. He's physically violent towards her, and then Olga accidentally shoots her.
Yeah, on Dodo's demand, she's like, "Shoot this cunt already."
Yeah. Love Dodo.
He misses
Favorite
her.
character.
Shoots
R.I.P.
Dodo, who falls off of the thing and dies, and we get to Bond level of blasé sort of dead woman stuff. Number 2.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah."
Solo does at least. We get a shot where he's like, that didn't need to happen. And Olga gets away.
Yes. So Solo has seen Lancer with Swicket. So he goes to Swicket's country estate where he encounters Mongofa once again. I don't think this guy ever gets a name. And
Probably does.
Go down as Demongo Butler.
Yeah, and he does some classic big guy shit.
This is
Solo
good.
drives it. This is like Man from U.N.C.L.E. in a microcosm to me. I really like this scene.
It's a perfect scene to me.
where
Yeah.
He drives up and the guy goes, "We're closed. To help you get back out of the location, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up your car, walk around, turn your whole car 180 degrees."
Because
and now
Solo's
you can
driving
drive away.
a beautiful cherry red MG convertible, actually. And these cars are very, very small. And he just picks it up by the front bumper and rotates it around, and it's like, right, off you go.
Yeah.
And Solo just puts it in reverse and reverses into the driveway.
Yes, it's really fun.
I love that.
Which gives me 2 notes. First of all, it's just rotates your car. And the second is, having defeated the doorman's riddle, Solo is permitted entry. Because
yeah, he doesn't chase
Cal doesn't
him.
follow him at all. He's just well, you got me. And then moves on. At this point, I'd like to take a second, because I think this is the last Uncle film that Cal Boulder is in. I want to just talk about him very slightly. I ended up looking up this guy's biography, right? And he is a classic of the genre. He was born in 1931 in Kansas, middle child of 6. He's called Earl at birth. He fucking got to university on a football scholarship. He served in Korea, got a Purple Heart, things like this. He then joined the LAPD. And in 1959, he issued a traffic violation citation to a Hollywood agent who then did something that, you could only do in, the late 50s, where this guy was just like, "Tell you what, chap, you're fucking massive. Would you like to be in movies?"
He's on some Harold Sakata shit. He's a white Harold Sakata.
They gave this guy
What kind of level of being an agent do you have to be to street cast a cop who pulls you over? That's
this
amazing.
Dude was 6'4", 260 pounds, 52-inch chest, 32-inch waist, and this guy was like, "Hey, fuck being a cop, man. Would you like to be in movies?" And you know what? Guys just don't get cast like this anymore. We don't have roving agents in the streets looking for the biggest guys they can see.
No.
It's fucked up.
No, sadly not.
Return with a V
It is.
to this.
Yeah, to this kind of shit, yeah.
Anyway,
But Solo
Got me
goes
feeling
in,
like
he
a white
talks to-
Harold Sakata.
Solo goes
Kansas.
in, he talks to Sir Norman, who is obviously evasive. And he asks him, "Hey, was the guy you were talking to Lancer? Are you prepared to swear on your word of honor as an Englishman?" And because this movie has a sort of old-fashioned conception of English gentlemanness, he's he answers him with a doctrine of mental reservation almost. He's like, he wasn't the same man, but I'm going to phrase that in a way that I'm technically telling you the truth.
Yeah, he kind of
And when he
cryptically
asks him,
confirms it, yeah.
Where's Lancer now? He's like, "Dead, just like the guy I was talking to."
He also says, "What is the Bridge of Lions?" And Sir Norman says, "Well, 30 million people died in World War I pointlessly because of a breakdown in communication. So I started a Discord for world leaders, basically."
Yes, based on chess.
Yeah, a chess group chat for the boys called the Bridge of Lions.
Well, how do you make a bridge out of lions? Not important. And so Solo drives away, and he calls Wanda. Wanda is still, much like the two of us, atrociously horny. She is trying to open Channel D, and he's like asking her about he's briefing her about what he's done. He's like, well, I'm not quite sure what to do next. And at this point, his car gets incredibly sabotaged because the butler's revenge, what he has done is like unsecured all four wheels of his car.
It's really funny.
We get an incredible face, an incredible Robert Vaughn face, which this one I want to make the episode out, where he just like is reacting to his car falling apart around him.
He looks like he's nutting.
And then,
but just,
like the drill tweet.
Before this happens, though, Wanda tells him some crucial information. She says that Lancer is dead, but Lancer had an assistant, Professor Gritsky, who was helping him with his
hormone research.
Thank you.
We fucking got him.
Use hormones to make him all male.
That's why he looks younger. It's the estrogen.
Transgender moment.
We did it, baby.
Transgender moment. Hormone research. And then, basically, over the rest of this movie, Solo has as much difficulty trying to find a hormone expert as anyone else in Britain. But before that, his car gets sabotaged. But by the NHS.
Yeah, that's right.
And
very much like the drill tweet. Fuck. I wrote this down too.
Smoke clears, lying completely dead on the ground.
Oh, they're going to put us down. They're going to kill us. This is like a tweet I saw. The most boring person on earth quoted. I'm trying
we've
my
done it
best
twice
here.
in this episode now.
And then the villain of the film appears.
Fucking evil Del Boy arrives on the fucking screen. A man by the name of Jordine.
I love Jordine. Jordine
evil Del Boy.
Spends the whole movie like clowning on every other spy.
This is our
He is a
thrush
better
guy.
spy than anyone here. He like picks up the little like microphone and he's like, yes, is this Channel D? Your guy has been like knocked unconscious through some kind of like clown car based shenanigans. And then everyone at Uncle takes turns introducing themselves to him, including Mr. Waverly.
Yeah.
The comsec in this, atrocious.
Everyone on this call wins the Brian Cox Memorial Award.
Everyone's like, you a spy? Yes. Are you a spy? Yes. All right. Now
But
we've established this.
especially Jordine, who, had he not told Waverly his name, would have won in the end.
Yeah, 100%.
He tells him how to spell it. He's like, Jordine, Jordin. I'm in the business of being a thrush agent. Nice to meet you. Anyway, I'm gonna, I guess, kidnap Solo now. So see you. Bye. No, he doesn't even do that.
He literally just leaves.
Where he is.
He just leaves.
He's just like, hey, your boy is about 3 miles south of, Little Dipshittingham or whatever this.
That's basically what they said.
Called.
I think they made up a place name. Little Dipshittingham.
It's kind of a gentlemanly thing to do, that he's like, your boy's been in a car crash, he's injured, I'm evil, but, not that evil. We then catch up with Ilya, who is still following cats around Soho.
Yeah, Ilya still chasing pussy around Soho. We've all been there, man.
Yeah.
Just it's all right.
He walks past like a hat that is placed on like a railing, goes into a house and finds a bunch of cats, including his cat girl, his kitten, which has been de-aged problematically.
And also has changed colour.
Yeah, it's now an orange cat. It's like a tabby. And he's like, what the fuck? I don't know what this means. I'm going to go upstairs, find Mr. Cat Bounty Guy dead, completely dead, stabbed with a hat pin. And this lodges in Ilya's brain to the point that he says, hat pin.
He just says it like 4 times in the scene. I'm just like, all right, man. I understand.
Then a guy comes in. They have a faux shootout. It's clearly Solo, and you're like, they sort of tease you with the reveal of that for too long. And they nearly kill each other. Solo's like, how's it going, man? And Kuryakin says, hat pin.
Yeah, Kuryakin says someone here is experimenting. Someone's here stealing cats and experimenting on them, hat pin. And Solo says, did you know that cats are the most similar animal to humans? And I was like,
hat pin.
Pretty sure they're not, actually.
Yeah, we get a fascinating line from Ilya, who says something along the lines of, but he only collected cats. Where did these kittens come from? And it's like, oh, sit down, mate. Don't worry. I'll explain this one to you.
Kittens are a kind of cat.
Kittens are a kind of cat. They result actually from getting too many cats together in one place.
Solo says that somebody's experimenting on these cats because they're so similar to humans, and I'm like,
yeah, man.
Have you heard of apes? Are you aware of apes?
No, they hadn't figured out the rhesus monkeys were a valid
chimp?
testing subject at this point. They were just doing cats.
Chimps? So, what about the chimp?
So at this point, he goes,
it's the cat, actually.
One more time. And remembers that he has just seen a hat.
Yeah.
And he looks in that hat, and it's a fucking Desala hat. And he's like, oh, hat pin.
Jordine, by the way, is listening in on them. Jordine's followed them.
Yes.
And so Norman is getting fucking estrogenized. He's getting retinoids. He's looking great.
He's in the machine that makes you transgender. And then, much like me, after 5 years trying to like take HRT to become like a femboy twink moder, they open up the thing, and Madame de Sala goes,
There is no change. There is no change.
It's very upsetting, I know. And this professor, Gritsky, just explains hormones to her, and he's like, yeah, no, it takes a fucking minute. You know, you can't be expecting shit overnight. The body's like changing itself.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that was the wrong one.
Lent on the bag of it. Meanwhile, Sir Norman is like still boy moding on his YouTube channel, and people are like, his skin's looking real good. Like, what's he like, losing weight maybe? Like, starting to look a bit different.
I notice you're dressing as a woman much more often, Norman. I don't know. It's a strange thing to be doing.
I am not a female person.
Solo and Ilya try and break in. The Scottish nurse sees them.
Impossible to know.
The Mongo butler knocks them out, and they get put in a hydraulic wine press.
Yeah, they do. This is some hitman behavior shit.
I also wrote down hitman. He's trying very hard to get the environmental kill.
Yeah, maybe there should only be one of us on these podcasts. Actually, too similar.
Up.
All of our bits are the fucking same bit.
We're converging because we're becoming better friends. We're operating as one.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. It's a gestalt.
So they put them in a wine press and then they fuck off. And then Jordine sneaks in and Jordine saves them.
Yeah, fucking Del Boy wanders in and gives them a little...
They brace the wine press just enough not to get crushed, and then Jordine rescues them. But just playing off of like instant bad vibes, Solo just goes, oh yeah, my friend's dead. Kuryakin, he fucking bought it of like stress a minute ago.
Yeah, no, it's really fucking funny. He's just like, oh yeah, he was too scared, he died. And then like a second later, Kuryakin's like, all right, next time you get to play dead, and I'm gonna pick the cause.
Kuryakin is great at improv because like he immediately goes along with this. He gets it immediately. He's like playing dead perfectly.
Ow.
And Jordine then develops a series of techniques to try and avoid getting his ass kicked by Solo, which I really like. Mm-hmm. They're really funny. You remember like how in noir movies you couldn't hit a guy if another guy pulled your coat down slightly over your shoulders.
That's right.
And that like paralyzed you? He essentially does that. He's like, yeah, take off one shoe. And like then sit on your hands, palms facing upwards. And so it's like, wait a second, this shit actually works, which I really quite like.
Yeah, he's like, I'll have to remember this one shoe bit.
Yeah, I'm like slightly off balance, and it's quite difficult for me to get up. That's clever. And Jordine very politely like introduces himself. He's like, Jordine, Jordin. I'm from Thrush. I'm trying to figure out this whole... Yeah, trying to figure out this whole Uncle U.N.C.L.E. thing. So please explain to me the plot of this movie. And right as he's about to, Ilya hits him with a fucking smoke bomb.
First gas deployed in this movie.
On him. Yes, I really like the it's like a money clip thing. And Kuryakin like gets out and he says, oh, by the way, it's also a bomb, and throws it at a wall for no reason, where it explodes. And this is the first of, frankly, a bizarre number of bombs that we find out that Uncle agents are just carrying on them.
This is such good rapport between the two boys. It's just so nice to see.
Yeah, it's great.
Some fellas
Jordine escapes.
We keep seeing them taking airline flights, and they're just carrying a shitload of bombs you can trigger like that.
Yeah, you can do that in the 60s. It was fine.
You could do fucking anything in an airport before 9/11. This is a maxim that we've come back to several times.
Airports were like international waters until 2001.
You could do 9/11 once.
You could. Only once.
Only once.
So Norman has now been successfully transgendered. He looks like 20 years younger. Yes. He returns to politics, and everyone's like, "Oh yes, well, Norman's back."
He attributes this to wife magic.
He does, yeah.
He's like, It's you all see me as the way my wife does.
So I've been getting that incredible wife pussy. And
Yes.
of course, he's agreed to marry DeSala. Everyone's like, "You're glowing. You're doing really good." Then he's like, "Thanks. I've just been like busting every night." But Solo and Ilya meet him, and they're like, "Yo, where's Gritsky? Where's the scientist?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know any scientists. It's just this fucking S-tier pussy I've been getting. That's why I feel so great."
He's one of those sort of like femboy influencers who's like, "No, I just look like this. Just lucky, I guess. Just genes."
Yeah. You're
No.
not gonna get me to name any names.
Soon your tits will reveal your secret.
No, don't, we're not recording right now.
Any names.
We're not recording right now. Just go ahead and any you can come to mind. Just
I can say or bleep it. In fact, bleep it. You know what? Bleep that name with the Die Hard incorrect buzzer noise. Just give me the
yeah, thank you. And then leave the entire discussion that we've just had in, including that little pause. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is podcasting on
I
fucking
have access to privileged information that I am not going to shout out on the podcast.
So Solo and Kuryakin talk about this, and they're like, "Well, where the fuck's the scientist?" And then they realize that Jordine, Jordin, is probably listening in on them with a bug bug from a van VAN outside. He is quite literally spinning the antenna on his radar van. There is a detector van parked outside the window, and we get this perfect shot of him. Like listening in the van, and it's so close to being chill lo-fi Jordine beats to relax and chill to. It's perfect.
Yeah.
We'll post it on the Twitter.
He's doing like lo-fi girl shit, like he's writing a little notebook. There's an orange cat.
Yes. Yeah. And they try and like prank him by whistling into the bug, but he's like too smart for them. He's already taken the headphones off, so you don't even get the like lives of others moment where it's like loud in the headphones.
And Jordine and Thrush, they are ahead of the boys. They catch up to Gritsky. They kill Olga, R.I.P. And Solo and Ilya.
Feminism defeated.
Yeah, Solo and Ilya try and jump in to save them, but Thrush get away. They get Gritsky.
They do.
Mm-hmm, they do.
And then,
I don't remember what's
Jordine.
happening. My next note is I'm losing the pace.
Yeah, like a lot of Uncle films, it kind of goes off the rules a bit vague in the third act.
Yeah,
Jordine continues to drive the plot because he calls up Madame de Salle and is like, "Yo, I've got your endocrine specialist right here.
Yes,
we should meet up."
And she's like, "Oh no!" She allows herself to go and be blackmailed. And this is an interesting. It's an unusually mature, sort of more Spectre-like.
Yeah.
Where it's like instead of, bear in mind, this is the same operation, the same like group that perpetrated Operation Robot, where they tried to kill Kuryakin with a couple of Operation Robots with a couple of like little sort of like yay high robots. Instead, they're now like, "We're gonna use your guy as the hidden hand. We're gonna be like, we're gonna tell you what to do. You're gonna tell him what to do. There's gonna be like 2 layers of cutouts. No one's gonna know." So
Ilya has managed to get a listening device into Madame de Salle's purse, so they overhear this. And back at the house, Solo and the Irish-Scottish nurse are also listening in. And Sir Norman is meant to be asleep. He's not hearing this. And we get this moment where Madame de Salle agrees to betray Sir Norman, her husband, and Nurse Sweet just straight up says, "Damn, if I learned my wife was betraying me to Thrush, I'd just fucking kill myself."
She's also the only person to really question Solo's methods ever. She's like, "Man, this is kind of fucked up. You keep breaking in the house and shit like that."
Well, we see that Sir Norman is like really upset by the revelation that his wife, who is suspiciously younger than him and giving him everything he wants, might questionably be manipulating him. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? Do you think she really liked you?
Yeah. Of course, Solo gets captured again by Jordine, and Jordine is a man of like proven tactics, and he's like, "Guess what? You're going back in the wine press that we all love. You already escaped from it once. We're not doing it a second time. You're going back in the wine press until we figure out what to do with you." And then he confronts the scientist Gritsky and threatens in like a fantastic way to have him replaced. He says,
"With a small additional effort, it should be possible to replace you with a computer."
I really
yeah,
want
right,
you
cunt. Yeah, fucking right.
Computer.
I find a computer indispensable.
Truly.
I find a computer indispensable.
Soon they're going to be able to replace me with a fucking computer by being like, "This is like a drill tweet that I saw one time."
But Gritsky's having second thoughts, basically, is the upshot of this scene. He's like, I don't know, should we really be doing this? There's a big meeting that evening between Sir Norman and all the other lads in his World Leader Discord. And also Waverley is here now.
Yeah.
Waverley gets to do some shit.
Yeah, so well, two things happen in quick succession, right? First of all, we see Sir Norman preparing to be like de-aged some more, and it's like we see it's like straining on his heart. It's not easy, and Gritsky warns him: if you do too much of this, it'll be like dating Alice.
You'll end up as a boy.
And
well done.
Alice's partner's after 2 dates.
I am not a female person.
It's fucked up they do that to you on day 2, especially after the dog bites you on day 1. It's a difficult life you lead, true.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just a girl.
You ever heard of
looking
a
at the world,
sin eater?
asking for an older woman to drown me in a bathtub, and instead I get a parade of like they thems and he hims who are relentlessly nice to me. I really and a dog that
the dog's nice to you now though. You're on good terms with the dog. Like
I am on good terms. We've mended fences, yeah. But so
Waverley flexes.
It's becoming clear that you've told us too much about your personal life.
Yes, yeah. So Norman then goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to work this so that Thrush don't get what they want, and also you should kill yourself.
He does. He's just like properly like, hey man, just letting you know, this is not like, I'm not biased or anything. I'm just telling you that like the best thing for you to do right now is just
everyone in the group chat when I say something is just like, hey,
you know what? I say this
is literally not true. Which group chat can't tell me names?
Listeners, this is not true. We are very supportive of the group chat.
We may text each other transphobic slurs every so often.
That's true.
We've never earnestly advised each other.
Yeah. Waverley,
Waverley
flexes on Jordine. Because
Jordine like stops the scientist from killing himself by taking the bullets out of the gun but leaving him the gun, which is a weird flex. Then goes upstairs to meet Waverley, really cool. And Waverley just spends 10 minutes like clowning on Jordine.
Yeah, Waverley just fucking owns Jordine repeatedly.
Yeah, because Jordine is like trying to do the like, good evening, Mr. Waverley, now you are my prisoner. And Waverley's just like, nope, dumb dipshit, fuck you, you think you're a spy? And like gives him his gun.
My umbrella has a lighter on the end of it.
He's just like, Jordine puts a cigarette in his mouth and like Waverley just like, you should have taken my umbrella off me, and like lights him with a cigarette. Like, it's like pointless.
It's so fucking funny, but like I'm glad that Waverley gets some fucking licks in. He's just like, look man, if you were a real fucking gentleman spy, you would have at least let me take my coat off first. And also, you left me with... And he goes, I apologize. And you left me with a fucking umbrella. You can hide anything in an umbrella, and then lights a cigarette for him with it. And it's just like, all right, you're going in the fucking wine press, old man. Shut up.
Shut up, you old cunt. Get in the wine press.
Get in the fucking wine press.
Yeah, but of course, he is just stashing motherfuckers in the wine press.
Yeah, he's not pressing them at this point. He's just like putting a fucking wine press. We'll just deal with
that
him
was
later.
His plan all along. Because when they get in the wine press, Waverley takes off his bow tie and it's full of fucking deck cord.
What is happening?
I was going to say, he introduces the name of my new favorite hardcore band, Debt Cord Necktie. He's just got a string of this just in his fucking tie. Make me a Debt Cord Necktie poster immediately, please. And he
That'll
just
be
like
the first bit of Man from Uncle merch we sell.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, that's a good
idea. The first bit of it has to be the t-shirt of the muesli that kills you instantly. But then we get the opening act for Debt Cord Necktie, which is explosive shirt buttons.
Yeah, not to be
How
outdone.
many bombs are these cunts carrying in their suits?
Every fucking thing they have on their goddamn outfit is some sort of explosive.
Uncle Agent lighting a cigarette on a plane and going up like fucking Hiroshima.
Yeah, that's why it's the cigarette that kills you instantly. It like sets off your fucking tannerite like shirt button or your cufflinks or your debt cord shoelaces.
Cyanide cigarettes, like everything never go near an Uncle Agent. They've got like asbestos like fucking wingtips. Like
to like accidentally a quite cogent criticism of like the sort of espionage state. Like everything about this person is tainted with death. But so they explode their way out of the wine press. Kuryakin shows up. He uses his explosive shirt buttons to explode their way out of the
Ilya
thing.
fights and defeats a Demongo butler.
Yeah, fucking Ilya just handles Cal Boulder like it's no fucking worries for him.
Single-handed. Leapfrogs over him over the fence.
Yeah, uses him to stay on the fucking wall. Easy game.
It's fantastic. And then at this point, right,
my notes
we go up to the reception.
Yeah, my notes start to fall apart at this point.
So Norman is like, I'm actually being used by and then fucking Jordine kills him.
Spectre, they strike.
Except his life is saved because his Madame Lascala redeems herself by sacrificing her life and her power for a man.
Yes,
she was
disappointing.
She was like, I'm going to get what men have. I'm going to have power. And then she gives up power and herself in order to save an old dude who is like sort of visibly grieved by this.
She does have quite a nice line though, where she's saying, she says, "Are you surprised, Norman? So am I."
Good.
Gritsky like de-ages himself. He turns himself into a boy. And then he's literally like, he's a kid with a fake mustache. I really like that.
What the fuck was
it's
that?
So dumb.
He kills himself by turning himself into a child with a mustache.
So
Baffling.
then Jordine corners Solo and Kuryakin in the basement next to the transgendification machine. And he's like, right, hand me the notes, which Kuryakin does. They're written in code. And then Jordine tries to destroy the transgendification machine by hitting it one time, which causes it to explode, killing him. It's sort of a safety issue, I would say.
Yeah, you got to. It's legal for him to hit it the one time. Once again, we're on a second fucking Man from U.N.C.L.E. episode where the bad guy just like kills himself accidentally.
Yeah, because Kuryakin does try and warn him. Kuryakin says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you," and he hits the machine, it blows up, and then Kuryakin goes, "Gritsky booby-trapped the machine." Said so in his notes, which we later find out are in code. So how did you read that?
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Also, Solo responds to this in a sort of inexplicable bad Scottish accent, where he's like, "Would have been nice if you'd told me, laddie." It's like, what? Huh?
Yeah, very odd.
I love Solo's
does get a
weird
great
fucking
line.
accents, though. He does this earlier with what's his cunt?
My name is Bentley, ma'am.
Bentley.
Yeah.
He does it with Bentley, because like Bentley's like, "I'm gonna have to call the gendarmes on you," and like when they find the fucking body of a woman, it's just like, why don't you go and call the gendarmes?
The gendarmes, yeah.
And then the final scene. The final scene is
first before that, we get a great Kuryakin line, which is, "At least you won't have to worry about getting any older." Dun, 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 dun.
Good line.
It's funny.
That should have ended on that, because then the final scene is Solo and Kuryakin bring the notebook to M and go, "It's all in code, so we don't know how to do the rejuvenation transgendification machine. Maybe someday we'll manage to code this." And M just goes, "I'm too much of an old cunt. I'll be dead by then." Filmance.
Yes. Literally. He's like, Kuryakin goes, it's like, well, they decoded Da Vinci's things in about 300 years, so any day now. And Waverly literally goes, "My age, I'll be dead long before then." Uplifting music. What?
Huh? Wait a minute.
What? Oh, the cold hand of death comes for us all.
And then she just like plays the fucking outro music. Wait a minute.
Huh? What?
Time is the enemy.
That's it. That's the movie.
That's the movie. We have a science-based system on this podcast.
I do have one question before we get into the scum, though.
Yes.
Which of the spies was the spy that is missing?
Not again!
Fuck! What is this?
Well, like Solo gets in the car crash, but then someone just tells them where he is, so he's not missing.
Is Ilya missing because he's looking for cats? Like,
none of the spies are missing.
No, because they know where he is, because they say he's in Soho. It's supposed to be missing.
It's adapted from the U.N.C.L.E. episode's The Bridge of Lions affair.
Wait, shit! I've got it.
None of our spies is missing.
No. This is the thing. The spy who's missing isn't in the movie because he's fucking missing.
He's gone. He just happens to also be missing.
Yeah.
Unconnected. One of our spies is missing.
Damn, this would be a very different movie if there was another spy here, but you can't.
Yeah, at that point, there would be, to my mind, it would be one spy too many. At that point.
Well done, David. Well done, David.
So the spy in this movie who's missing is the one Italian guy from One Spy Too Many.
That's right.
I think the next film is called The Helicopter Spies, and
No,
I'm pretty sure it's going to be
Spy
set
in the Green Hat, which could fucking have been Olga. One character who's iconically in a green hat the entire fucking movie.
If there's no spy in a green hat in The Spy in the Green Hat,
at all.
If it's just like there's no fuck, no.
It's genuinely on some police squad shit, where it's like the title just has nothing to do with it.
Just nothing to fucking do with it. God.
We have a science-based system on this podcast. It's called the SCUM spectrum. It stands for Smarm, Cultural Insensitivity, Unprovoked Violence, and Misogyny.
How smarmy is this movie? I mean,
I think slightly less than usual for Uncle.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can't think of any particularly smarmy lines aside from when he's like the jindeems or whatever over the body of a dead woman.
Yeah,
which is sort of moderately smarmy. Also, I missed a drop of Gritsky saying
hormone creams.
It's pretty good. Yeah,
just if anyone needed
that's
that.
Useful.
I would put this at like a 3 or a 4. You know, sort of like
it's
low
not
to
super
mid.
smarmy. This is this is one of the like more sensible, for want of a better word, Man from Uncle ones.
Cultural insensitivity. What do we think?
Are there any people of colour in this film?
No,
not to my knowledge, not to my recollection.
And as always,
certainly not doing major things.
It's maybe like slightly stereotypical about Texans. I don't care, but it is.
That's
maybe.
in Texas.
In Texas.
I feel like it's the all-white cast, especially given that other films have gone out of their way to kind of correct that. I feel like it does get a few points.
That's true. It's true. So 2, maybe?
2 again. All right, cool. Unprovoked violence.
Unprovoked violence. I mean, there's a guy getting told to kill himself, but it's like sort of honorably.
Uncle's pretty good about unprovoked violence. Like, Uncle's kind of fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of any violence that we're supposed to kind of accept. One?
Yeah, one.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's everything to play for here because at the moment it's not doing well, but
thankfully...
Well, there's another fucking women in this movie and they're treated interestingly, so let's crack on.
With feminism cancelled. So we get a couple of responses to the idea that feminism exists in the world in 1966. In that we get like gentlemen's clubs which are portrayed as stuffy and ridiculous, and this nurse who is like quite competent and is like offended by this, and she's a good character. She's like offended by this. That's fine. However, we also get the feminism that makes you evil, which is when you start wanting power instead of just to like do your job. And that, gets you to the point where you drown women in bathtubs and things of this nature. However, you can redeem yourself if you allow yourself to be killed for a man.
Yes. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the first Man from U.N.C.L.E. film where she's like, I like being a free woman, but now I'm going to go back to my family.
Wasn't that fun?
It's
anyway.
not as depressing as that, but it's like, it's still grim. I would give this comfortably a 5 or a 6, I would say.
I could go 5. Dev?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, once again, I just listen to women in this segment, as ever.
5 it is.
That gives it a total score of 11, which is the best Uncle so far. Is pretty damn good. I mean, the best films we've ever seen are still View to a Kill and... Oh, no, I'm terribly sorry.
Right.
The best film we've ever seen is The Bourne Identity with 6.
It was pretty good.
But as far as, mainline episodes go, 11 is pretty solid, actually.
Yeah, I'm quite
better than almost every Bond.
I tell you what, I enjoyed watching this movie because it is ridiculous. I had a good time because it was so stupid.
In fact, it is better than every Bond film except View to a Kill.
That sounds about right, to be honest.
I had fun watching this film.
Yeah, me too. And the next Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie is, as we have said, The Spy in the Green Hat, and it fucking better have a spy in a green hat.
Alice and I will try to control ourselves. We'll both try to be bitten by dogs and or hot women in the meantime.
That's such a real
so
fuck
that we
off.
are we are under control for the next
leave
podcast.
that in. Yeah.
That was so genuine. The problem is, my interpersonal life is quite boring, and Abby's we can't discuss because it would give too many people too much ammunition.
Whereas mine genuinely is quite.
Yeah.
stuff happens to me, and unfortunately, sometimes that stuff is good fodder for a comedy podcast.
Yeah.
Also, we know who we're awarding a Goodnight Cross and an Oldman Medal and a Kaufman Star for this, so it's sort of like laden down with accolades.
Like a fucking Soviet general.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, Happy New Year from the Kill James Bond podcast.
Yeah, we will see you in the new year.
2023, the Future Zone.
And it's worth noting here at the end of this episode, the first episode of next year will actually be our 100th episode.
Hey!
And we have something in store for you guys for that one.
Do we?
So,
got a little plan.
Tune in.
I don't know about this. I'm excited.
At a point in the future.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. I don't know which one, though, because we are banking these episodes as we're going away on holiday, variously, the three of us, throughout the month of December, which means that you will not get a fresh and new jazz outro every time. You will get this one for all 3 episodes that are yet to be released in December. So, let's crack on so this isn't too annoying to listen to 3 times. Our £15 and above patrons are Christina Fox, Amanda Comet, Freya Aloysius, Gustavo Lira, Jack Holmes, Thomas Oberhardt, Nick Boris, Kentucky Fried Commie, Yarrick, Nata Mori, Harriet DeCock, Corios, Benno Rice, the Commissar formerly known as Jen, Beef Crime, Library Hitman, Callan Burney, Max Gamenhart, Jonathan Gerdes, Jack Drummond, Hell, Kit Devine, Lysamesh, Jay Martindale, Jonathan Siegel, Big Titty Goth Girl, Tarp O, George Rohack, Mothman, Harrison Fuller, Trip, Violet Cybra, Alex, L plus Liz Nash, doing well in Florida. Sorry you Brits are freezing your asses off. We don't have heating bills, so have some dosh. Paint McCalla, A Trans Robot, Ronan, Elizabeth Cox, Zoe Shepherd, Finn Ross, 2 Spy 3 Many, Turfs Eat Shit and Die Alone, Quinn Valeri, Alfredo, and Wolfie. Thank you. Kill James Bond is, of course, Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer is the wonderful Nate Bethay. Our podcast art is by Matty Lubchansky, and our website is by Tom Allen. See ya.